Hey there, it's Elisha Goldstein. I'm just going to be really straight with you right now. Your mind and my mind aren't always our best friends. In fact, they can sometimes be our worst enemies. And so there's three common mind traps that absolutely sink happiness that are known across the globe, and I want you to know them now because I want you to be on the lookout for them. Because if they ever come up in your life, in your day, in your mind, we want to be able to kind of work with them, shift our relationship to them, pop out of the autopilot that's there, and come up with a healthier perspective, so you don't get caught in a downward spiral. So here they are. First of all, there's a really funny cartoon that came out a long time ago. I don't remember who the author was, but it said, "It's 12 o'clock. Do you know where your mind is?" All of our brains work on autopilot. It's called procedural memory. And so we're memorizing procedures, and that's how we learn how to walk, talk, play an instrument. It's also how the mind traps work and how they sneak up on us without us even knowing about them at all. And they can absolutely sink our happiness, drive us into states of stress, anxiety, depression, addictive behaviors, bad habits. And so here they are, and just the very recognition and knowing of them is going to be a big boost to you to be able to step outside of them. Okay, first one. Catastrophizing. You might have heard this word before, but I want you to know if you're on the lookout for it regularly. If you're someone that struggles with anxiety or panic attacks or even high level of stress and overwhelm, this is something that your mind most definitely does. So this is when it's looking for the worst case scenario possible. Why? Because your brain's wired to survive, not be happy. So it wants to, if your heart is racing, it's going to think about like, well, why is my heart racing? It's going to look for the worst case scenario of something that can happen in the future, which then creates a feedback loop of you feeling more anxious. And so the first step is just to notice it and kind of name it 3 times. Catastrophizing, catastrophizing, catastrophizing. Get a little bit of space from it. Okay, we'll talk about what's next in a second. The second mind trap, discounting the positive, exaggerating the negative. Let me know if this is you or not, where you have ever said a sentence like, well, yeah, that was really great that I had such a great talk at this business meeting, but a handful of people said it wasn't that good, or I could see they were looking at their phones. Or anytime you say something positive but something negative, you've completely discounted the positive thing that you said. And so we'll talk about what the antidote to that is in a minute. Okay, be on the lookout for that because that can really sink you into more of a depressed state. So the next one, blaming. Blaming, it's this uncomfortable feeling we feel, and we got to kind of throw it up over someone. It's someone else's fault, or maybe blame ourselves all the time for it, which just kind of sinks us into a depressed state, maybe an uncomfortable state, so we begin to fall into addictive behaviors and bad habits. Okay, so those are the 3. Blaming, by the way, never good for anybody. There's never a positive thing that comes from blaming, so it's really important to be on the lookout for it, an expulsion of an uncomfortable feeling. So for the first one, think about that, catastrophizing. What we want to do is we want to name it a few times. Then it's in our body, remember, because habits are stored in our body, and these are just habits. These are mental habits, but they're also in our body. Your body's most likely tensing. Soften your body. Take a deep breath. Blow it out if you want to, and then ask yourself, actually, what's going right now? Or what's another reason my heart might be racing? Maybe I just was exercising, or maybe my mind was thinking about something, a worst case scenario, so it got kind of anxious. But then, you know what? That scenario is not even really real. It's not even absolutely true. And then we soften our body, maybe stretch out where the tension is, get a little reality check, and then kind of move forward. What's most important for me to pay attention to right now? So exaggerating the negative, discounting the positive. What do? We switch out the but with an and. Because we don't want to, maybe the negative thing is true. Maybe there's some truth to that, but we don't need to negate the positive. So we say like, hey, I gave a great talk and there was a couple people paying attention to their phones. It's a different feeling. It's a bit more of a balanced feeling. Play with that and see what you notice. It's not going to sink you as much. It's going to allow you to float more and be more buoyant. Third one, blaming. Just blaming's never good. So if we want to be on the lookout for it, name it when it's happening. Self-blame, blaming others. If you're in a couple, you can use that shared languaging, being on the lookout for when you both blame each other. And just, again, notice that. And notice that when someone's blaming, again, they're feeling really uncomfortable. They're just in a state of emotional overwhelm in that moment. And so maybe there's an opportunity to recognize that, if that's with you, recognizing that in yourself and saying to you and softening your body and saying, may I be more at ease, or may I feel more accepting towards myself? God, may I learn to recognize when I'm really in a state of overwhelm and feel a greater sense of calm and balance. Or maybe I need to accept myself as I am a little bit more, or whatever. Something like that, but something more caring towards yourself or towards the other person, because, they're definitely in a state of imbalance. So there's the three things. Really, if you're on the lookout for them and you play with these kind of remediations, it can go a long way towards staving off states of falling into anxious states or depressive states, and also help you feel more confident and buoyant, which will help you feel happier in the long run. Okay, hope that was helpful. Play with it. Share with me below what you notice, and look forward to being with you another time. Okay, bye for now.